All righty, we're back here with episode 2 of Greaseball Sports Card Talk. What up, guys? Kenny and Jared here. Today we got a quick episode kind of to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about the NBA Rookie of the Year and talk about the current Target situation and the current Meyer situation, waiting all day, sleeping in parking lots, etc. And then we're going to talk about the NFL draft, which is this Thursday. So kind of exciting news. Jared, why don't you get us started talking about the Rookie of the Year?
All right. So obviously this rookie class, we're not seeing a ton of crazy action across the board from a lot of people averaging 10 plus points a game. Realistically, it's two guys, I would say. I think most people would agree. It's between LaMelo Ball, who's obviously supposed to come back tomorrow, and then Anthony Edwards. Really, you don't really see anybody too close to either of those guys with stat lines. If you look, Edwards is leading rookies in scoring. Ball is leading in assists and steals. And Edwards is actually LaMelo Ball's pretty close up there with rebounds as well. So doing quite a good job across the board in most stats, with Edwards leading in points. I think it really comes down to games played this year. I think right now nobody's a true favorite. I like Edwards. That's my pick. I think Edwards wins it. I do think Ball has a chance though, regardless. When he comes back and what he does. I think if he puts up some crazy numbers, and I know we talked about this a little bit, even though playoffs have nothing to do with Rookie of the Year. If the Hornets are in the playoffs, so if something happens where he does put up some crazy numbers, I think that could skew it a little bit. I think that's where he really, maybe the only chance he has, even though it's a regular season award. But I would give it to Edwards. Yes, he's on Minnesota. They're not that great, but he's playing really, really well across the board, and he's coming along. If you look at his scoring over the last 3-4 months, it's increased pretty much on a monthly basis. When he came out, he was barely averaging 10 points for the Timberwolves. His minutes are up, and he's up to almost 32 minutes a game, which I think is probably tops in the rookies. Yes, it is. No other rookies is playing as many minutes as he is, and though his field goal percentage is the greatest, he's putting up points and putting up shots. So that's who I would take Rookie of the Year. Though Ball, something could happen with Ball.
So it looked like you came prepared today to talk about the Rookie of the Year with the stats.
I'm on it.
So you'll probably know this one or may not. So I'm going to take LaMelo. I think he's, just with the sheer playoff, like you mentioned, when he left the Hornets, they were a 4 seed. He's coming back, I believe they're 8th seed right now. And 10, 15 games left in the season. I think they get back to about probably 7. They challenge the Celtics for the 7th seed or the 6th seed and kind of move up. So I think I'm going to give
that's a great way to look at it, seeing how much they've dropped without him playing. They're losing right now by 5. There's 2 minutes left till Milwaukee, so I have it on in front of me.
Okay. Well, I think really it's what we kind of talked about prior to this. It's a 2-man race. Sadiq Bey's out there, Emmanuel Quickly, and then Cole Anthony down in Orlando. All 3 of those guys, unfortunately, better luck, never. Good luck with the All-NBA rookie team.
Yeah, that's going to be tough this year. It really is. I was looking through rookie stat lines this year, and you have a lot of guys averaging like 3 to 5 points that were drafted in the first round. You have very few guys. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's only 6 players averaging over 10 as a rookie this year.
And if I'm correct on this, I believe like 4 or 5 of them, and they're in the top 10, are averaging 5 or less.
Yeah.
Or very close.
Very, very close. You got some that are a little bit over 5, 7. Yeah, it's really and a lot of and what I would look at is a lot of those players are on teams where they're not getting the playing time. See somebody like Desmond Bane, who we talked a little bit about, with his 3-point shooting, and he's averaging 9 points a game. Now Ja's back, he's not playing as much. Obviously, he had some time to shine. there's a lot of players who are really good, who are on really good teams, who just haven't gotten the minutes to be able to prove themselves. And a lot of times you see that kind of go up with injuries. I mean, I think that's like, I would say if there's a third choice, I would pick Halliburton. I really like Halliburton a lot. I think he's good. He's averaging almost 13 points a game, on a terrible team. So that it is cool to see LaMelo actually playing on a team that actually has, is going to make the playoffs. A lot of these guys, if you look at the top 5 guys with points, none of them are making the playoffs. Quickly is going to make the playoffs. He could be really somebody who plays awesome, and you could see some explosion, getting off topic a bit, but on his cards in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Remind ourselves about kind of what we're doing is, sports cards, and, with Quickly, with Toppin, with LaMelo, with other rookies, coming in at the very end. Peyton Pritchard is a big one, right? We talked about those card prices. I'm thinking about Desmond Bain as, a play-in game. A lot of those lower end rookies that we don't really think about, their card prices could zoom in the playoffs. So that's a good point, Jared.
Good. So yeah, I forgot all about Peyton Pritchard. Mm-hmm. Another guy that was on fire for a while, and the guy that plays for OKC, Alex, however you say his last name, he's from Russia. I thought he was
the white Kevin Durant.
The white Kevin Durant, yes, exactly. Yep. I thought he was averaging a lot more points. I looked him up today, and I know his card prices had jumped quite a bit, but he's really not. I mean, he's only averaging 7 points a game.
I think it's just about a little hype. I mean, these players were not playing. They didn't play in an NCAA tournament. Most of them didn't play in professional league. A lot of things went into play. But, I don't want to get necessarily too off topic with that. Speaking along the lines of something that, is relative very big in the sports card market is, flipping, retail hunting, and such like that. And we kind of talk about these new policies, the Meyer policy, which is Friday at 3 a.m. And then the Target
3 p.m.
3 p.m. 3 not 3 a.m. People are probably showing
3 a.m.
up
for some people, maybe.
Yep.
3 a.m. for some people.
And then the Friday policy at 8 a.m. for Target, which we've also heard is going down to 1 item per store potentially as well.
Yeah, I've seen, speaking of Target, I've seen a few different signs on social media, and it's always tough to say, hey, are these real or not? I did see the one that said 1 per item. I seen one that said Target's going to discontinue selling cards in general for the safety of the Target employees and other shoppers at Target. I don't know if that's fake. You see enough of them, you kind of start to realize that this stuff is real. I wouldn't be surprised if that was fake, but the Target at 1 per, I believe. I don't. What do you think? You think that's coming? Or I know some Targets are different, and it matters how that GM wants to run it as well.
Yeah, we've seen that evident with some Walmarts and Myers, close to home with sport cards. But I think for Target, I really don't know what it does to the market, because we thought it would curve a lot of people locally, even from staying overnight, getting there at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. We even seen a couple weeks ago, I think it was at Target, 8 p.m. there was 5 people.
Yeah. Waiting 12 hours,
and they might not even been guaranteed product, and they, keep doing it. And, I don't know how much it curves, but, I eventually just hope they kind of just put it behind the service desk, honestly. I mean, I feel like that's the next logical step.
Something we didn't talk about with it, besides spending the night in parking lots, is we see people driving from 2 to 3 hours away from where we're at locally, coming to wait overnight. And that perspective, that is a huge perspective that I think a lot of times we don't think about, because maybe we live so close to a place, it's not that big of a deal for us to go there. But there's people driving 2 to 3 hours plus to come to this area, and it's madness everywhere. So I mean, that's kind of crazy. And with these limits, you would think it's going to start to curb it. I can't imagine people are going to be spending the night for one item.
And I would hope not. I really hope not. Honestly, I feel like, I think one of our friends, Ethan, said, this past week that they might do a raffle. Apparently, it's been a raffle before for like gaming systems and stuff like that. There's a lot of things that could happen. I know with the Meyer lines, and specifically, I don't think that's going to change, but I really think, me and you were hunting cards at Meyer, in the winter, in the
Yeah,
fall. I mean, you were in the last summer and you were the only person getting it, and
yeah.
up until really December, I was, one of three, if that, to get any of the Myers. And now it's, 60, 70, 80 people at a Meyer. I feel like they kind of, honestly, like hurt themselves by doing this, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic thing as well.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were complaining, and I think finally they got annoyed with it. Meyer as a company, that so many people were calling to complain that the people at customer service were probably sick of answering the calls. The people in electronics were sick of answering the calls. So they changed this. But I agree. I mean, I don't see it being a long-term solution. People camping out in chairs, eating meals inside of Meyer. I've been in Myers where there's 25 people sitting in camping chairs and people can't even come down the aisle. Also, you have to put into perspective how much money Meyer is spending to run that for a couple hours with 6, 7 people behind that electronics counter that they never have there before. I mean, they have had to adjust their schedules.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of crazy. We don't talk about that a lot, but that's something before where the vendor just put that stuff on the shelf and called it a day. And now Meyer's employing an extra 20 hours a week, plus a manager of some sort to be involved in that area. I mean, usually a store manager, usually a GM.
Yeah, I'm usually working these days for Fridays, but the one Friday I had off a few weeks ago, you and I went, and there was 5 people there plus 2 managers, and they were there before we got there for probably 20, 30 minutes, as well as after we got there for 20 to 30 minutes. So that's an hour worth of work, to get all that done, overhead, etc. I just can't see it lasting that much longer.
I agree. I don't think it's something that Meyer. I wish they would do some sort of system, like via text message or a raffle. That's not even a bad idea. They're going to have to change. I think they know this is not a long-term solution.
And one of the biggest problems was just honestly, random people that were in the store then asking people what they were doing in line, and then they got in line, they found out what they could get for a product and what they could sell it for, and then they told their friends, or they're bringing their family, or neighbors, and it's just got out of hands. And
yeah. I mean, you see entire families inside stores now. It's ridiculous. The people don't know what to pick up. They have one person who's telling 7 different people what to grab. It's gotten kind of out of control. I think it's way worse than it used to be, for sure.
Yeah, I'm happy. As much as Saginaw is known for some of its violence at sometimes, but having a safe environment for these lines, because down in Detroit, we've been hearing of stabbings, shootings, brawls, with kids, teens, moms, and elderly, and I don't want that to be about my card life. I can't be a part of that. So kind of happy where we're at. It's kind of a chill, it sometimes gets a little heated, but more a relaxed environment.
Definitely.
So kind of, bringing us home to our last topic that we had kind of planned. Big news in the sports world, NFL draft this week. Obviously the Jacksonville Jaguars pretty much all know who they're going to take with Trevor Lawrence, but kind of speaking on, some of the other picks, what do you think?
I mean, that was the big one, obviously. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is the name. And going back to cards, we really know. I mean, he's been hyped for a long time. It's not like this is like a name that nobody knows. So he's been hyped for a long time. I think it's going to be great for sports cards in general, for football. I think also Justin Fields from Ohio State, though he had some bad playoff games and hasn't really played well in those. I think he's somebody that could be really, really good. I think he was, the last projection I looked was like second or third. It all depends what people are looking for. But I think he could be really, really good. And he has got a great arm compared to maybe sometimes as much as just running. So it kind of all depends. But I mean, I like him a lot. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence, I think he's guaranteed to go number 1. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think after number 1, it gets a little messy. I've seen pretty much every mock draft have Zach Wilson from BYU out at number 2 for the Jets. But honestly, I'm not sold on it. I think a lot of people are thinking that's the way, but we've seen in the past with NFL drafts and NBA drafts going exact opposite ways of what people are thinking. So, huge Fields fan, huge, Kyle Pitts from Florida. Kyle Pitts is, that dual threat tight end wide receiver that we haven't really seen since, the late Aaron Hernandez, kind of like Darren Waller is for the Oakland Raiders right now. But I think this draft, as much as we like to think about quarterbacks and, Trevor Lawrence, I think is going to be, an amazing, probably future Hall of Famer. I think this is the class we see where the wide receivers kind of take over with, Waddle, Chase, and, the reigning Heisman winner, Devontae Smith, and kind of just looking into that, making sure we're going to, have a fun draft for the Lions. I have the Lions trading their pick to the New England Patriots, and the New England Patriots coming up and taking either Lance or Fields.
Okay.
I think that's a bold prediction, but I feel like the Lions are known for trading, and their favorite team to trade with is some reason why always the New England Patriots.
It's a good point. It's a bold prediction. I like it though. That could be interesting. It could be interesting to see what Fields does with the Pats as well.
I've seen one mock draft today where he had them going. Chris Sims had him going 32, which I thought was crazy. But to each their own. And we'll see. The draft is never perfect, and that's why we aren't paid the scouting bucks, and we're not the GMs and stuff. So their job's on the line, not ours.
Oh, that's good. Great point. That's one thing too. Like you said, every year we're always looking for the next best 5-6 quarterbacks, and I don't think that. And I think last year, we maybe have the ability to have 3 to 5 really good quarterbacks, but there's really not a need for 5 great quarterbacks every year out of a draft. It's just not going to happen. It's just like basketball. You only need so many guards, and you're only going to have a certain amount of talent every year, and the talent pool can be lesser in a different position. And specifically in football, where position is way more important than in basketball, in my opinion, especially with quarterbacks, that you're just not going to have insane quarterback talent every single year. You're going to have years where there's not the hype there. So, I mean, we got a couple hype, obviously Lawrence is the majority of the hype, and the rest is based on the wide receivers, which we need some good wide receivers in the league right now. So that would be great.
Yep, a lot of them got hurt, a lot of them got injured, kind of transitioning to the elder statesman roles. So yeah, for sure. And just kind of in general with our discussions, so we always kind of like to end on like a surefire bet for at least let's go with the next 6 months for cards. I know last week we had a couple good picks, and those trend lines are going up. Who are you going to buy? Or who would you advise to buy real quick, for the next 6 months?
So last week I said LaMelo Ball, and I still think he's a steal, and I do continue to keep buying him. 6 months, I like, honestly, we talked about it earlier, but quickly, in those Knicks making the playoffs, I think you could have an insane return on your investment buying some quickly. You're not going to get anything really graded, but Prism Silvers, I think, would be a great pickup. The Knicks are a team right now who they're dangerous, but they're not really being taken, I don't think, seriously in the NBA. Maybe a little bit more than normal because they haven't made the playoffs in such a long time. But somebody like him has a game in the playoffs, one game where he puts up 25. You're going to see stuff explode. He has a series where he averages 20, 18. His stuff's going to go. I mean, you're going to see 40 to 50% increases on your investment on Emmanuel Quickly Silvers.
I think that's great. As a Knicks fan, I think you're very accurate in your assessment with saying he's going to go up. I think the one, to kind of, I know we both kind of did basketball last week with me doing Tim Duncan, you doing LaMelo Ball. This week you're doing Emmanuel Quickly. I think I kind of go in the baseball world, in the next kind of 6 months. Luis Robert for the Chicago White Sox. He's having a great start to the year. He was the big hype rookie last year. And I think just this year he's going to close that gap with, the Juan Soto, Ronald Acuna. I don't think he's on Trout or Tatis level, but, I think he's right behind them. And, we were talking about the card show pickup I had with his Bowman Chrome Auto,
Yeah.
and looking at their prices compared to him, I don't think they're too far off. So I recommend going to snag a, Bowman Chrome Auto of, Luis Robert.
Nice.
So with that kind of being said, you know, always remember that none of our predictions are foolproof, but we do bet on our greasiness. So I will talk to you next week, guys. Have a good one, and God bless.
See you guys.